Welcome into Unrivaled, the Penn State Football Stories Season 6 Rewind, presented by Pepsi. We're going to take a look back at some of the top moments from this exclusive all-access show, and here to help us do that for Episode 1 is head coach James Franklin. And Coach, first off, I appreciate you taking the time today, but why is this show so beneficial to you and your program? Because I remember early on in the season, if you go way back, when HBO was in town, there was all kinds of cameras around, and everybody was like, you know, is this going to be distracting for you and your program? But you were one of the first to say, there's constant cameras around our program as it is already. So why is this beneficial for you and your program?
Well, I think it's just another opportunity for our team and our program, our coaches, players, to connect with the fan base, which is what it's all about. So I think there's a lot of things that it's interesting when I watch football with my wife and kids. Things that they think about, college football, or they think about pro football. That maybe they haven't been in the locker room or haven't been in a team meeting setting or out at practice. It allows people to kind of peek behind the curtain a little bit and get a more of a true understanding of how it goes and how things operate. And I think the other thing that's important is, I think in our game, with the equipment and the helmets, that sometimes these guys just seem like warriors and seem like robots out there because you don't get the same personal interaction and see the expression on their faces. So for people to get to know our people and our players and coaches, a little bit more of an intimate look in our program, I think is really important for connectivity.
What will it take to be great? I love the way this episode starts, Coach, because you hear all of that national attention, the buzz surrounding your program.
We know how good a program this is historically.
So I think it comes down to talent. They won the championship in James's third year here. Are they still recruiting the type of talent that they could win another Big Ten championship? I think the answer is yes.
For you guys, what is it like to start a new season?
Well, I think it's exciting because you think about all the work that's been put in from really the day the bowl game ends, whether it's recruiting, whether it's sitting down and meeting on schemes and tweaks and changes that we're going to make, whether it's new hires, and how do we get all the pieces of the puzzle together. And the reality is, I think a lot of people think it's been built off the year before, and the reality is you got to start all over. You can't take anything for granted, and there's excitement that comes with that. There's excitement about what the new season can bring, what the new staff can bring, what some of the new players can bring. And then there's also obviously some anxiety about areas that that are maybe weaknesses during spring and the summer that you need to get resolved quickly and turn those weaknesses into strengths. And every program has them, and the programs that can kind of deal with and identify those issues as quick as possible are usually the programs that are going to be the most successful.
Now, Media Day is an interesting time for a lot of people around the country because it's arguably the official start to a new season. And Coach, I remember you pulling up on your golf cart, going back and meeting with Chris Peterson in the hallway before you went to your press conference. And you go in there and you say that our mantra this season is championship habits. So where did you come up with that mantra, and how important is something like that to your day-to-day operations?
Well, first of all, I love how you say this is day one for us, because you're thinking like a media guy. It's all about the media for you. For us, it's different. But no, I get it. So for us, we're not a huge mantra team. Some teams have like a specific kind of mantra or theme for every single year. And I wouldn't necessarily say that that's kind of how we go about our business. There may be something that we've just had a lot of discussions about in the offseason that we say, okay, this is something that we really want to emphasize, that we think is going to be important based on what our players kind of know and expect from us. So I think the championship habits is something for us. Yeah, it's about football, but for us, everything with our football program, we want to make sure that it complements school, that it complements and has real life application, so that our guys can say, okay, not only does Penn State football put me in a position to be successful in Beaver Stadium and in the Big Ten and maybe in the NFL one day, but it also taught me values and lessons that are going to allow me to be successful in the classroom and then most importantly in life, whether it is as a father or a husband or a leader of some type of organization one day.
This is one of my favorite parts of episode 1 because there's so many life lessons that you speak of in that team meeting. But the first time you come down those steps for the initial team meeting to kick off the season, the core values are over on the wall. You got young faces mixed with veteran faces. What is that first team meeting like for you?
Work ethic, that's something that you can control. You can outwork everyone. Starting at your position, then on the defense, then on the team, then in the conference, then in the country.
It's important because I think it sets the tone for the season. So I want to be able to give them a message that I think is important. Things that we've been discussing as a staff all off season, things that I've been talking about with the Leadership Council. And a lot of it is going to be similar to what the veterans have heard, because our core values, things that we truly believe, those things aren't going to change. Everything else you're going to tweak and modify, over years. But the things that we truly believe in, the things that are most important to our program and to our coaches and to our players, those things are going to be a little bit of repetitive, but we're also going to try to find ways, maybe different way to hit it. And then I also know there's some freshmen that are sitting in there and they're nervous. This is their first meeting, and I think the other thing we do is everybody's got to get up and either sing a song or dance, because I think that vulnerability as an organization is important. And the coaches have to do it, players have to do it, we all have to do it. So I think that's important to get up there and kind of have fun, show some personality, be willing to laugh at yourself. It's also like a little bit like America's Got Talent. The ones that are the best are the ones that you don't expect. So it's the quiet kid who hasn't said a whole lot, and then he gets up there and his personality explodes either by dancing or singing or whatever it is. What I always tell people is you either want to be really good or really bad, so you're memorable. You're memorable. You never want to be there in the middle, and we've had some pretty good examples of that.
Walking around the Lasch football complex on really any given day during the week, you're going to see some people in there that you don't necessarily know, and it's not a strange sight to see a guest speaker. So with that being said, you bring in multiple different people throughout the season, but how do you make sure that the message either stays the same, changes up? How do you approach that?
Well, I think you have to be careful. We spend so much time together throughout the year and during the season that you don't want to end up being the parents on the phone from Charlie Brown, where it's like wah wah wah, and they just they tune you out because it's the same person talking about the same messages over and over again. So whether that is our own staff, whether that is veteran players in our program, whether that is lettermen that have come back and want to be able to embrace our guys and impart some knowledge on them, or whether that is public speakers and people that go around all over the country and speak.
Number one thing I want them to take away is to close the gap between what they know and what they do.
And you need to be the teammate that you want to play with. Don't worry so much about being the best on the team. Put all of your focus in being the best for the team.
We just want to keep pounding our guys with all these messages, these positive messages that we know that are going to allow them to be very successful in life and go back to those championship habits that we talked about in the beginning.
Why is it important to reward your guys with things like this for all the hard work they put in?
I know everybody's tired. Just keep pushing. Let's keep getting better. Hey, go, Sonny.
You've got guys coming in like GT who shoot out of their seat when you announce this, and you got guys like John Reed who jump out of their seat. Normally quiet guys, and Deej, look at Deej. He's got a cutoff on, a towel on his shoulder and everything like that. But Coach, why is it important to reward guys with this type of opportunity?
Well, I wish you could see it a little bit better in the clip, because the whole strength staff came in like school outfits. They had swimmies on their arms and rubber duckies and bathing suits and goggles and everything else. So the guys went crazy, and that was awesome. But for us, we want to reward our guys. We want to work hard, but we want to play hard as well. The hard part is they know it's coming, so they've gotten really good at it. So we used to do the bowling alley, or we used to do the movies, or whatever, maybe chants downtown. But the guys would, once they felt like it was coming, they would start calling around. Hey, do you have a party today? Scheduled for between 4 and 6 during practice time. So they would start calling around, and they'd have friends or girlfriends that work downtown and would tell them, hey, we hear the football team's having a thing at Champs today. So the pool was nice because we've never done that before. But that's kind of the battle. How do you keep this kind of secret, and how can you surprise them at the right time to get the reaction and get the morale that you're looking for at the right time in training camp?
I got to ask you one more thing before we end this clip. So KJ Hamler, he's got you over his shoulder and jumps in the pool. What happened there?
Yeah, KJ, he's always going to find a way to kind of to have fun and interact with the coaches. I've been talking to a bunch of the NFL teams about KJ. KJ's got an unbelievable way to have fun with his teammates, have fun with his coaches, always do it in a respectful way. But he's great. You know, I just, as a coach and kind of dad, I sit there and I'm worried about people slipping as they're grabbing guys and throwing guys into the pool. I still kind of have that dad and head coach feel the whole time. But yeah, I'm glad that he's comfortable enough to pick me up and throw me in the pool and have fun. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a guy like the rest of them, you know, trying to work hard, trying to represent Penn State in the right way, and also enjoy our time together as players and parents and brothers and sisters.
What is game week like for you guys, and how do you see the intensity and the focus and everything else ramp up within your program?
Yeah, you just start to feel the electricity. You know, at a place like Penn State where, you know, we've averaged 106,000 fans for the last 2 years. So, you know, the town just starts to pick up. More people start kind of showing up in town. The students are arriving and checking into their dorms, and there's excitement with that. And our players know that we're going to shift. Our practices don't change a whole lot. But rather than us focusing on Penn State and scheme and fundamentals and techniques, we start to switch a little bit and start to study our opponent and having an awareness of our opponent, what they like to do, what they do well, and areas that they struggle that we could attack. So yeah, it just starts to shift a little bit, and you have to be careful because the reality is whether you change to practice or not, the players just practice at a different level. You wish they practiced the same all the time, but the reality is that game week there's a spike, and our sports science data all shows that. So, you know, you have to manage all those types of things. But it's just exciting. You know, you get to a point where you practice enough, you've competed against each other a whole lot as coaches and as players, and you're looking forward to run out in Beaver Stadium, the best stadium in all of college football, and represent our fans and our community the right way.
Are there certain things that you'll always cherish about that first game week? And I know you can talk about the hustle and bustle of being back on campus or team meetings and all that, but for you, is there little personal things that you'll always cherish about that first game of the season?
Well, it may sound silly, but at a place that still uses natural grass in the stadium and on our practice field, the beginning of camp and early in the season, you hear the lawnmowers going and you smell the grass and you see them painting the lines on the field, and, you know, and the weather, and it's just all of it. It brings back memories from when I was a little kid playing Little League football, you know, with my mom at the games, orange slices at halftime. It brings back, you know, even the simplistic, the most simple things like that. But it also brings back, you know how fortunate and how blessed we are to play major college football and to do it at a place like Penn State with so much, tremendous support and history and tradition, and how blessed you feel to be a part of it.
Coach, appreciate you taking the time and going back down a little bit of memory lane, and I think I'm the biggest fan of the pool party concept because that's pretty cool, but appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.